Hello guys and welcome to the video. Today I'm going to show you guys a very quick guide on how to beat the new Organization 13 event that just started. And the person that we're going to be facing this time is Zexion. Zexion really is not that difficult at all, guys. I figured it out pretty much myself. It's pretty self-explanatory, so I'm just going to show you guys how I did it. So here we go. I did it last night, okay, and this was my setup. But I'm just going to show you guys again very quickly. I had virtually the same exact... Oh, not this one. My bad. Okay, so this was my setup. The only difference here is that my illustrated axle was a 6-star at the time. It was not a 7-star. I can give you guys my word that this is possible. This strategy is possible with a 6-star axle. So this is going to be my first time trying it with a 7-star because I just did it after and, you know, I made it happen. But yes, like I said, this setup was almost identical to the thing that I used yesterday. So I used my stained glass metal to get those general buffs and debuffs, plus do some damage at the beginning. Actually, I think I might just hit ones at the beginning. I can't remember. But anyways, yeah, buffs and debuffs are very important with Riku and the stained glass metal. You might be able to sub them out for other stained glass metals, such as like the Roxas one. That actually will probably be a lot better. But yeah, either or of the power stained glass metals will work fine. And my traits on here, extra attack actually was not good for me on this, believe it or not, because you're dealing with counters on enemies. But I'll get to that in a second. Okay, so then up next I have Kairi. Obviously, you know, Kairi's a staple on almost every single Keyblade setup. I don't have anything crazy on her, just ground enemy defense, but that's not what you want her. You want her for the buffs, the debuffs, and also to restore the enemy's counter. So I'm going to show you guys what I mean by that. Also, I put my Riku replica here, so he could do the same exact thing that Kairi does, plus add another one to the counter, so you could add +2 with these two metals alone. Auron is very important. You don't necessarily need Auron, but you need a metal that can do fixed damage because the spellbook enemies have incredible defenses. They don't take damage from anything, and you just need to make sure that you're able to kill them without trying to hit them with a standard metal. You just want to inflict the fixed damage, keep them going, and that is that. And then obviously up here we have the Prime Illustrated Axle. I literally just pulled once, used my resources, and guilted him. I don't have any traits. I didn't pull for him or anything. I got the standard 6-star. I pulled once, and then I upgraded him to a 7-star by myself because this metal will get replaced, but obviously he has a lot of use for right now. And obviously you just want raw damage, buffs, debuffs, and oh yeah, something else I didn't mention before. I didn't even have a skill on this when he was a 6-star, so just keep that in mind, guys. You don't need the 7-star if you're trying to do this, but your friends do, because I'm about to get into that. I use my HD Vanitas. I mean, like I said, ground defense, strength 1000. I don't have that extra attack or anything for that much extra damage. I copy that, and then I use my friend's 7-star Prime, and this was a 7-star yesterday when I was doing it. So yeah, attack boost 6 and gauges 2. Extra attack comes in use here, and then you guys will see what I mean with the strategy. Ground defense helps obviously, and the strength plus 1000, and the damage and rage does not matter here. But okay, so I'm going to show you guys the strategy. It's pretty simple. There's a lot of things that you need to pay attention to, but they're not that hard to do. So here you go. So you run over here. And, oh yeah, big thing, make sure your auto is off because you need to do specific things with this. So I believe you go stained glass metal, and then do not attack these two because you do not want their counters running out. You want to wait till the end to defeat them. You want to make sure you target Zexion. And you also want to take note that you want his counter to end on your final turn. So I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. So that brings him to 3. Use Kairi. Doesn't matter if you attack these two because you bring their counters up. Use this again to bring Zexion's counter back to 5. And then you use your Auron to deal the damage on these two spellbooks. That doesn't mean anything for him, but yes, you do want his counter to drop as well. And then use your Prime here. Target Zexion. That brings him to 3. Then I got Zexion is going to take damage here from the axle metal that I'm copying, and then this has extra attack on it. So yeah, you bring his counter while doing a lot of damage down to 1, and then the next attack comes here, and you basically take out half his health without even really doing a whole lot. Like I said, it's just selective targeting, having the correct metals to deal with all these at once. But since you brought his counter down at the end, he will not be he will not attack you again. He'll just attack you once. So the goal here is to basically make sure you keep these guys' counters high so they don't buff him. You want to make sure that his counter ends at 0 on your last attack, and that you kill him as quickly as possible so these guys don't have a chance to buff him up, because then you're in trouble. So I'm just going to show you guys what my strategy is. Again, you use one cast of the stained glass metal. Just solo attack him because, again, you don't want their counters running out. Use that Kyrie. Copy that Kyrie. Use Orin to deal the fixed damage. And then, as you can see, that one is dead. That one is completely dead. So now you only have to deal with Zexion and then this one. And I'm actually pretty sure you can just click auto because it'll just single target the Zexion. Yeah. But make sure if you do click auto that you click it off on your last attack, because like I said, it's very important that you are selective with your targeting in this method. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to knock Zexion out right now. Yeah, so that was 2 turns. I did it in 2 turns. And it doesn't matter at this point what you do with this thing, because it's not going to die unless you use your fixed damage metals. So basically you play the waiting game here. You could really, I actually might even just kind of like turn this off and just bump through it, because it's not like your fixed damage metal is going to do any more or less. That's why it's a fixed damage metal. But yeah, like I said, this isn't important. Just, you know, it doesn't even matter if his counter hits 0. Like I said, it's not a big deal, because he's just buffing himself. But if you're doing fixed damage, it doesn't matter. I'll actually use Kyrie to make sure I don't run out of gauges. Make sure you don't run out of gauges, guys. You need to be able to use your metals appropriately when you need to. So there's Orin. Deal more damage, and then just spam this until next turn. You could even just run it on auto. It doesn't even matter, as long as you can continuously cycle through your Keyblades, but I'm just trying to do this very quickly. See, I messed up there. That's why you have to be careful with when you use your metals, guys. Oh my god. Okay, just ignore that. You guys pretty much get the idea, though. I can't believe I did that. But, yeah, that's basically just what not to do when you're doing this. Okay, so like I said, be very careful with which metals that you use and which metals you don't use, because you just got to make sure that you use everything appropriately. But like I said, when you're in the situation like this at the end, you're pretty much in the home stretch. It doesn't matter, because you'll kill it no matter what. It can't do damage to you. So that, use you again. And he's dead. And that's it, guys. So, like I said, it's really not that difficult. There's a lot of these metals that you can substitute out for one another. It's really not too difficult to accomplish. I'm going to go over some substitutes that you guys can use, because there are some staple things that you do absolutely need. But then again, like I said, there are some things that you can you could swap out, which I think you can still do a fair amount of damage. There's just very important things that you need to take note of while you're doing this. Okay, so I'll just go to my setup. So for this setup, the Darkna, this was just it best suits the Illustrated Axel Prime, even though Zexion was a magic enemy. It doesn't matter just because this metal does so much damage, it doesn't even matter. But yeah, so this was my setup. You guys can do whatever you want, really, but I just preferred the Darkna. So if you want to follow suit with me and you want to use a Darkna, this is what you should do. Like I said, I don't have the Roxas stained glass metal, but I do have the Riku one, so I do get that full power buff and the full power debuff. That is really all that you really need to worry about with this. Kyrie's pretty much a staple, or just anything that's close to it. Like some of the key arts are pretty close to her. The Toon Roxas is pretty close to her. Basically anything that can also restore enemy countdowns. So Chicken Little, whatever. Just make sure that you keep those countdowns where they need to be. Because remember, like what I said, you need to make sure that his countdown ends on your countdown, or on the final attack of your turn. And you also need to remember that you need to make sure that those counters for those spellbook enemies do not hit 0, because when you then they'll buff Zexion, and then it's a nightmare and you'll have to start all over again. So make sure, again, like here and then here, you copy something that is able to do, that's able to restore the counter. So then the damage medal, this fixed damage medal, is very important. There's a bunch of fixed damage medals. I can't name any at the top of my head. There's the illustrated Kyrie medal, not Kyrie EX, the other one, Kingdom Hearts 2 Kyrie. And this one just does, you know, a lot of damage. Those enemies, like I said, I think the second one with the higher counter has like 8. So you just want to make sure you're doing as much damage just so it goes as fast as possible. It really doesn't matter which one you use. But yeah, like I said, fixed damage medal is very important here. And I believe I said at the beginning of this video too, you don't need a 7-star Axel in order to do this. Like I said, I promise you guys this was a 6-star yesterday. I just used it for the buffs and debuffs. So the setup I had here, where I used my copycat medal and then copied my friend's Axel with extra attack. If you guys are in a decent party and you have a decent amount of players, chances are somebody will have a really good Axel Prime by now, and someone will have an Axel Prime with extra attack. And like I said, those, like the Orin, the Axel, the copycat medal that you choose to use, your best one, doesn't matter which one it is, and then the Axel with the extra attacks, just blast Zexion away. You should be able to do it in 2, maybe 3 turns. And like I said, just for insurance, make sure that one of your medals, like my Kyrie here, has second chance, because you never know, you might not be able to do as much damage as I did. And then your pet also should be able to do HP recovery. That's just a given. So yeah, that was my setup, guys. I hope that this helped you out. Please let me know down below if it did, or if you have any other strategies that worked best for you, because there's a ton of different ways you can do that. This is just the way that, this is just what happened to work best for me. So yeah, like I said, just let me know down below. Don't forget to like the video and to subscribe for more Kingdom Hearts content. And until next time, guys, I will catch you all later, and thank you for watching. Bye-bye.